Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fred Achando channel. I promised you that after missing for close to 3 months, I will be back, and I'm back in full swing. As usual, we talk politics, and you don't. Politics is not complete until you meet this man, a man who needs no introduction. We are here with the bold himself. The bold, welcome to the program.
I'm Kevin anyway. I know most people don't know my name. Yes, but thank you for the ball. And by the way, Fred is back. We need to say that you are away. Actually, he was sick.
Yeah,
It's
I
good to
was
say.
uh, I
Yeah,
was
he was
sick. I was
sick.
diagnosed with some
So
serious problem.
some serious problems. I think it's like now 2 months.
It's 2 months.
Yes. So and we had started working together just also to support his channel, so that his channel will be monetized. And when he fell ill, it was a bit stopped. So again, when he's back, we now doing some lifting so that at least people will have to know about it.
Yeah,
Ama
and
nakushtaki kwa wanafaa
no, it's
kukusikia.
okay. Those are our employers, so it's good they understand what's happening.
Yes.
So the board, without much ado, I want us to go straight to politics. We are coming from hotly contested elections. Kenyans are still talking about it. As you alluded to this fact, others have not healed. You said you are a Kenyan and Kenya is your business. You understand that there have been allegations of foreigners who infiltrated our servers, and very many people think that our election was largely determined by foreigners. Tell me what you think about this, because Kenyans needs to hear this. Very many people are looking up to you to clear the air. Please talk to us about the foreign infiltration.
I think really people have been insisting that irrespective of the results, then there is one thing that needs to happen. That people are hurt, and of course we feel there was a big expectation. And when you look at, when you talk to people, you understand that people are hurt. But again, there is a bid to move on. And that's why to heal and need to heal and move on. And that's why I keep on insisting that when you speak the truth and tell these people what exactly is happening, it's actually a therapy for them to know. On the issue of the foreign infiltration, this was in broad daylight. I have, and if you look at this, it's not something that is worrying, or it's not something that is new. This was an election. And election is a transition. There is a transition of leadership, of just us having president after the next president, after the last president, because the constitution says after 10 years. But it's more than that. Remember, the previous administration had their own points of interest and their circles of power. And so even on President William Ruto coming into office, he also had his own vision and his also center of power. So the transition was locally and also internationally. Remember, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, during his tenure, there was a lot of criticism that he was going to the Asian countries for the loan, especially now the China. But on the other side, he was seen not to be having soft spot on the other end.
When you say the other end, you mean the West?
On the Europe side.
The Europe side.
Yeah, on the Europe side. So this is something that you cannot underestimate, because even on inauguration, I wanted to look at these two aspects. On the day of inauguration, and I think I mentioned it in the bold, that sorry.
There's one of your fans now calling. You see, they never stop. They now want you to tell them what is happening in Parliament. Okay,
Sorry for that. So you will realize that at during the inauguration, you saw Aliko Dangote. Aliko Dangote is one of the business moguls in Africa. The mogul from Nigeria.
He's an investor.
He's an investor. Yeah. He has a company, I think, cement company, perhaps in Tanzania, and also have investments in Uganda and other countries. So, and he attended. Now, if you look at that video, look at the strategic point he was seated. You know, he was seated next to the Kenyan Chief Justice.
Let me ask you, Kevin, as an analyst, you are also looking at the position where someone sits. It means a lot. It is an expression.
This is, inauguration, and I think that's the video you're seeing now. Look at that video on your screen. Guys, inauguration ceremony is one of the most high-profile ceremonies in the history of a country.
Yes.
We've only had 4 of them, and I've had the privilege of only witnessing 2.
Which one is that?
2013 and 2017, now 3, 2013, 2017, 20, and we've only had few of them. Now, in such an event, someone who is not a Kenyan, is not a chief justice, is not even a former president, does not have any portfolio within the country, was seated next to the Kenyan chief justice. What does that tell you?
What does it mean?
Get?
What does it mean?
It means that he is close to the man that is being sworn in. How did he secure a seat next to the Kenyan Chief Justice? If you ask me, where he's seated, maybe the former Chief Justice David Maraga will be seated there. Makes more sense.
Kevin, you are reading too much. This
It's not about reading too much.
you know, political analysts, surely. You are reading too much.
Let me tell
Wasn't it just a coincidence? He just secured a seat?
Let me ask you. When President is attending an event, do you think the area governor and MCA and Mamamboga will sit next to the president? Is it the MCA or the governor?
The governor, of course.
Leadership, protocol, let me tell you. Protocol is one of the most critical things in government. In fact, watu wanatakanga ukubwa. Can I remind you, in 2012,
Yes.
during the grand coalition of Mwai Kibaki, Raila Odinga and Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka.
Yes.
Do you remember how there was a lot of debate on between Raila and Kalonzo, who is more senior? And in public holidays, it used to play out.
Yeah. In fact, I remember the late Mutula Kilonzo saying that, I don't know, in Parliament, Kalonzo is more senior, but I don't know in terms of what. There was a lot of debate. So you are alluding to some fact that for Aliko Dangote to secure a seat next to the Chief Justice, then it means they valued him highly.
Yes, they valued him highly, and they are gonna. So that points out to the kind of. Now I have, and I know some of our viewers have been wondering. The influx of Nigerians in State House. Our brother-in-law is Nigerian, and we no pun intended, but he's been spotted in when the judges were being sworn in. You remember the 9 judges that?
Yes. He was there.
He was in State House.
Really?
Yes.
So what are you insinuating? What are you saying?
What is he doing there? He married one of us. He married our sister, and so they should stay in Nigeria.
But let me, Kevin.
What? No, State House is not their home.
But when our president was being declared the winner, he came with his mom. And so our president is a man who is just trying to show that he's a family man, and the extended family includes the son-in-law.
Let me tell you. Yes. During former President Uhuru Kenyattas' reign, there was an onslaught of the wash. And you talk to people, you will find reports that there were goods that were being confiscated at the airport. And some of the people that were affected were the people from Nigeria. And it had to take an intervention of the president of Nigeria to intervene so that these people would get their way. You understand? So this is something bolder. If now I'm talking
more than meets the eye.
This is something bigger. And there is no problem. What I'm saying is, there is no problem the foreign. No, they will have to, because at the end of the day, no country.
Yeah, Kenya is part of the
yes.
global. But let me just ask you this: between the external expectations and the expectations of Kenyans, which one should be paramount in determining who becomes the president? Is it the external? In an ideal situation, are we not supposed to be left to choose our president, so that if a Nigerian or the American president has some interest, then they should work with the person we have given them as the president? Why should they determine for us who becomes the president?
What I'm saying is this. Yes. I'm not saying that directly their influence determined the winner.
Yeah.
But they had a stake. It could be that it suppressed the opponent. Okay. It could be it suppressed the opponent, or it lifted the winner. The two things. It could suppress the other
You're
person.
saying the same thing. You're confusing us now.
I'm saying different things. You're not just understanding.
Okay.
You either suppress the opponent or lifted the winner.
I got you
And
now.
this is what I say. When you when you fund, when you overfund, when it's supported, you suppress the other person.
I got you.
Yes.
Kevin, we are here and I just want to ask you. You see this Fred Achando, but you are the bold and you want to speak bold. Do you think Jose Camargo got access into our servers and changed results?
I don't know whether Jose Camargo got to the servers and changed the results. But one thing I can say, and I believe, is that the journey between Kim's kit to IBC portal was the longest journey to Canaan.
Did they reach?
Eh?
Talking of that
fell
journey.
by the Red Sea. Some Form 34A fell by the Red Sea.
You alluded because I was watching one of your analysis and you talked about the US ambassador. Kevin, in the history of our elections, you said that you've witnessed 3 of them. Have you ever seen one where an ambassador of another country sits pretty during the counting and verification of results? Because I'm asking you this, it is a concern to many Kenyans. I have seen ambassadors being invited on the very day of declaration, but this one was different. Please talk to me about this, or are we reading too much?
Number one, their presence was occasioned by the fact that there was, remember the bombers of Kenya, the last declaration was very controversial. And their presence, and I'm telling you, if the ambassadors were not there, maybe the results wouldn't have been declared.
Why do you say so?
Because their presence there was already raising the eyebrow. You can't do anything because you out of their heart. You see, they're there, so the whole nation is watching, and their presence are at stake, and they're making those observations. So they are seeing. You cannot do anything. They're there. There was a lot of man marking. So their presence, to me, it can be seen as, they were there to witness and see our democracy playing out. But in real sense, they were actually doing man marking and just creating vigilance. They were policing the exercise.
You see, you are now confirming to me that these people are infiltrating, because we have a process, a credible process that was going on. Chebukati and the team were doing the verification. What would have happened if they were not there? Because we need to move on.
If they were not there, then I can tell you, someone who speaks about an elusive deep state, the results would have been announced.
Well, fair enough. Now, we have a president who has been elected by Kenyans, but you also allude to the fact that due to external, you said in every election. Now, what does it portend to us? What does it mean moving forward? We already have a president, and you are talking of the foreign policy. And what does it mean to us?
I think for me it's a takeaway, because it's not just negative on their presence, because it will also upscale the development investors in the country, and of course it's bringing money into circulation and all that. Even though we know that to one end it upscales the investment, but it might also hurt the local investor. For example, if someone cannot put up a cement company, we already have enough. We already have enough in this country. Unless now you want to come up and infiltrate our market and reduce that, it's going to hurt some locals, because again, we also need to have our local mortgages around here. So, on that end, there was also a scare of the illicit cash transfers. Remember, that was the biggest headache until it got to a point where President Uhuru Kenyatta had to
Changing the currency?
Changing the currency. Yeah. That comes into it, and it cuts away the sovereignty of the country. when the perception comes out that this was installed, it cuts a chunk from the legitimacy.
Do you think
Because
it can be eradicated, whatever you're talking about?
It can be eradicated to a public complete. It's not there. Not now.
Not now.
Not now.
So you're telling us to prepare.
We still have to brave ourselves. Kenyans had an opportunity to eradicate it by electing Raila Odinga.
What did you just say?
Why for Raila, there was going to be a paradigm shift. Because I can tell you that after Raila will exit the stage, you understand? The other leaders that will come, will all of them be young. You understand? They will all of them be young. And it will actually crop in the new generation that will fight it out based on different grounds. But because of the candidate of Raila, who was perceived as a stalwart, you understand? Remember, a contest between William Ruto and Raila was a contest of, kusukuma kisiki. It was one that had to be deeply embedded.
Status quo versus change, so to speak.
Status quo versus change. So that is one thing. But if you still have a president that will still have a stake that I want to be in the next and work with them.
Oh, he has to compromise. That was saying he will have to compromise a lot.
Is that to be compromised?
You talked about Raila and most of his supporters, because I think we need to bring this to an end. Most of his supporters have not healed. And because you're saying you're very much concerned, some of your supporters are still telling you, Kevin, you have not healed. The healing process, Kevin, we cannot complete this interview.
Healing is a decision. You decide to heal. Just make that decision and decide.
It's not easy. Most people still feel, especially when you allude to some fact that our servers, it's not easy. What do you...
It's not about the easy.
Give us a therapy. As a doctor...
It's now about doing the right thing.
Which is
to heal. It's not easy. I know
that is your therapy. Just a minute, Kevin. You are saying that you decide to heal, do the right thing, which is to heal. Did you just hear what you told?
You don't have an option, because there's nothing that is going to change. We already have a president. And that's it. Whether you work with him, you don't work with him, he is there.
One last question, because next when we meet, I want us to discuss something that you alluded to about the transition when Raila exists. That's a story that I will ask you. Yeah. But your expectations of this government, as we finalize, perhaps that's going to be your parting shot. What is your expectation, a realistic expectation, your own evaluation, and will it work? Economy and all that, will it work? Your expectation?
My expectation, apart from, because I can't look into finer details of what X, Y is supposed to be done, but if you ask me, I just want to see the issue-based politics sustained. At no point should we digress to excuses, to Uhuru Kenyatta did that. At no point should we start diverting. Let's just face the issues so that in 2027,
yes,
we will have issues raised and issues, because it was also, this election was also about two things. The issues and things we want to do, and the things we want to be done right. One of them was that they have the politics of conmanship. You understand? That's why the likes of Kingi had to be given the Senate seats even if they brought nothing in the table, because there was an agreement and nataka tuonekana sisi ni watu wa ukweli. The same thing, in the spirit of saying the truth and doing everything right. Everything that was addressed in the campaign trail, issue-based. On 2027, we will just want to have a table of X, nitafanya hii, X or Y, X or that. X and Y, just that. So that in 2027, we'll not go back to the politics of nipigeni kura sababu mimi na Wakikuyu na Wakalenjin sisi tuko na deni. We will not go back there.
I got you. Kevin, if I got you, you're saying that we are done with politics. It is now implementation of the promises.
That's it.
Period.
That's it.
Thank you. Well, guys, that is the bold himself, Kevin Odwor. He's saying that, number one, we have a president. Whether the process was frustrated or not, we have a president, we must embrace him, and he's saying to the government, we are done with politics, the mamamboga, the bottom up is what we are looking at. Until we meet again when we discuss more, thank you very much for watching Fred Achando. If you're watching for the first time, kindly I forgot to request you to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, support the channel, and let us grow together. Kelvins, once again, thank you very much.